Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are most welcome on Church Uganda Family TV with your program, The Family Hour. Today with me, your host, Richard Anerela, sitting in for Edwin Mukalazi. Today we're going to discuss a lot of issues related to HIV/AIDS and also things that are the community members in our country, Uganda, and also other people around the world face when it comes to the HIV/AIDS related issues. And today we're having a representative from the Uganda AIDS Commission. We all know that the World AIDS Day is around the corner, the month of December, the 1st this year of 2023, and we'll be celebrating it as the country at large. Our theme, we all know it will be a lead communities lead. And today I'm having a representative, one of the special person, Reverend Gedeon Byamugisha. He is one of the first religious leaders who came out and confessed to be HIV positive in 1992. And he is the founder of African Network of religious leaders affected with the HIV/AIDS. In our topical discussion, we'll be talking about the end of stigma-related issues and also discrimination among the patients of HIV/AIDS. Reverend Gedeon, happy to see you tonight.
Thank you very much, Rita.
How is everything taking you?
The Lord is still gracious.
Say hello to the person who is watching the program.
I praise the Lord, our viewers. Thank you for loving Family TV, and thank you for loving Canon Gedeon since 1992 when he knew that I'm HIV positive. I have fed on your love, on your grace, on your compassion, and that is the one that God has used to help me live longer, productive life, and that's why I'm here to share how we can defeat self-stigma and societal stigma.
Robert, I expected you to be in Busoga. I hope you went there in Busoga today to celebrate the Chavazinga.
Yeah, I could have gone, but because I was booked for another function, I wasn't. Yeah, but I'm following well.
But I think they can receive your message, wishing them all the best in their marriage as a couple.
Yeah, well, we were so grateful that you had your wedding, the royal wedding over there. Yeah. We thank God for you. We thank God for the people who are going to be blessed by your enduring love and grace to each other.
So, Reverend, someone needs to understand, when we talk about HIV/AIDS, we all know that you've been a victim of it, and someone needs to understand, how was it like when you have HIV/AIDS in your time in 1992? Yes, that's experience.
Actually, on the contrary, I have not been a victim. I have been a victor.
A victor.
Many people who you hear the word champion, heroes.
Okay.
These are guys who have looked AIDS in the face
and
said, you cannot intimidate us, you cannot terrorize us when we have God.
Okay.
And when they told me I was positive, of course it was a panicking situation, but I remembered that there is a God who created me.
Okay.
There is a God who knows this situation, and if I trust him, he can give me guidance and give me victory. So we tend not to use the word victim because it disempowers people. And already when you are facing a very big problem and then someone removes that lever which you could have hung on. Yeah, so we use people living with HIV or people with HIV, you know, those terms that are neutral.
Yes.
Yeah. But it shows why this discussion is very important.
It is.
That sometimes the stigma is in the words, sometimes it is in the messages that we are passing there. Sometimes it is in the policies, sometimes it is in the sermons, and the person is not intending to be bad, is not intending to stigmatize. But the hearer hears something that is stigmatizing, that is, maybe shaming or undervaluing. Yeah, so I'm glad that Family TV really worked in partnership with Uganda AIDS Commission to look at this aspect of how do we defeat stigma and discrimination, because it is the one still in the way of ending AIDS.
It is.
We are on the last mile. When you look at the statistics, they tell you that 200,000 people are HIV positive, but they don't know that they are positive.
What would be the main cause? Yeah.
And then we have another 80,000. They are positive. They know it. They have even gone on treatment. But because of the stigma and the other issues around they are not swallowing the medicine as well. So they are struggling, and they are infecting the 200,000. And then they are dying early. So we lose twice. We lose on transmission. We also lose on quick death. So the fact that family TV has come in to say, no, the faith communities can do something.
Can do something about it. And
let's discuss that. So stigma is critical, but by the time we finish the show, I'm sure people will be saying, now we know how we can achieve victory. Yeah, because we were once troubled, but now we are getting victorious because we now know what stigma is, what brings it, what sustains it, what can be done to end it. So we are more powerful than we were 40 years ago.
Wow. You know, most times people believe that religious leaders can't do anything when it comes to the health-related issues, but you're here, and I believe someone who is watching this program will be inspired and they will get the information that they need. You know, one thing I've realized that the public has no information about HIV/AIDS, awareness, the mindset, the culture. Someone says that when you have HIV/AIDS, you cannot be with a person next to a person in the house, whereby someone is discriminated, someone is it's put aside, whereby you have your own things, I have my own things. It's very hard for people to share with HIV-related people, and this has tormented the victors with HIV/AIDS. So what is your take point about that, Reverend?
Yeah, there are 5 sources of stigma. That one you have said is one of them. We call it fear, irrational fear of contagion. Irrational, because it's not accurate. It's rational.
It's rational.
Yeah, it's not based on fact. Yes, and so when you say he will infect us if we sit together with him. I don't. Sometimes when I'm taking Holy Communion, you know, I'm lining up, and people know, oh, Gedeon is positive, and there are 2 pastors who are giving Holy Communion. You see the line behind me is short, but the other one is long. People are like, we shouldn't. Maybe we may pick the virus from. You don't know. That is, I was in one of the churches where they had posted me, and the people said, Oyumaure, we are not comfortable with him baptizing our children. Now maybe they were imagining that if
you baptize that, which is great.
Yeah. So the fear, irrational fear of contagion, is part of the things actually we have to find a way of teaching and telling people, and that is where religious communities are strong, because we have the people.
You have the people.
We have actually 2 types of people. We have those who are being stigmatized, and then we have the stigmatizers. They are both in the church.
There are 2 categories of people, both in the church in one community.
Yeah, they are in the church or they are in the mosque. And so a religious leader who is empowered, who knows how to communicate, can really help the congregation to say, look, HIV does not just get transmitted through air or through water or through hugging or eating together. The leader should tell people that it's only 3 routes. You see how God is beautiful, how is wonderful. No, don't guess. Only 3 routes. 1, unprotected intercourse with someone who is HIV positive and has enough viral load to cause a new infection. It's number one.
It's number one.
Number two, an infected mom passing on the virus to the baby.
To the baby, yeah.
Either before birth or during birth or during breastfeeding.
Okay.
Number three, contaminated blood, either through injections or blood transfusion or
cutting with
cutting,
a braid and
you know,
also,
and you can see such information can empower people.
Yeah.
And say, oh, okay, now we know.
Those are the three major.
Yes.
Not sharing a car.
Not 100. Because if there were many, maybe we'd say, oh, this is too much.
Yes.
Or if we didn't know. But God was so generous to us that in the first 5 years of the virus being isolated and being known that this is acquired immunodeficiency, it's HIV that leads to AIDS. We knew how it moves from one person to the other. That's beautiful. Members, consider, for example, scurvy. Scurvy, which took over 300 years.
Oh, yeah.
People were dying of scurvy.
They
were only guessing until a bright young man came up and said, I have discovered the science. What is it? Oh, they are not eating orange.
You can never stop it simple like that.
Do you know how many people we lost? But
so many.
Thank God that within the first 5 years we knew. So that's the first. The second root of stigma is irrational fear of quick death.
It's true.
Again, it is rational because, after all, there is even a treatment now.
When people fear death.
But when you say, I'm HIV positive,
okay.
Genda kufa.
Yes. If you can sit on a border, and you usually almost running into a taxi.
Even the one you have told, you say, oh my God, this is a dead body.
It's a dead body already.
To the point that when you look at our languages, our local languages, they don't have the word HIV positive.
They don't?
They have the word, I am AIDS sick. But they told you, they didn't tell you you are Olimurwade. They told you you are HIV positive. I mean, like now, surely it would be, people would be saying, hey, Bale se Murwade ku TV, But how can a Murwade talk for 1 hour?
How?
The Murwade will be in Mulago,
under treatment.
But that is how AIDS, the psyche, that's how it operates. Once you believe you are dying quickly, then the body and the mind coordinate and you begin vomiting and you begin diureting.
The cells come coming out.
Then the family members treat you as someone dying. He shouldn't take our rice. He's dying anyway.
Why would we care about him?
He shouldn't be in school. He's dying anyway. I remember in 1992, my scholarship for a PhD was revoked when they heard that I'm positive. 32 years later, I am still around.
It's so sad,
but people, it is so deep. Thank God that my church, my bishops, and my archbishop, I really want to thank all of you. The retired ones, of course, most of the bishops and the archbishops who were there by that time when I was disclosing are now retired.
Wow.
But they did a wonderful job. Bishop Samuel, Mama Allen,
so much.
Dr. Sam Lawrence, and Mama Dora Rutikara, you did a great job.
Wow.
Yeah, Mama Rita Kauma and your team, my current Bishop of Namirembe was actually in my class, and he was together with the retired Bishop of Northern Uganda, Bishop Johnny Gakumba, and the one of Mukono, the other Chizito. Yes, Paul. These were who said, let's give him the support he needs.
Wow.
Bishop Eliphaz Mali was the principal. At that time, he was called Canon Eliphaz Mali with Mama Eunice. They picked up, said, no, we shouldn't think he's dying. We should instead do what we can, and then God does the rest.
It's true.
So we have now two issues that we have to deal with as faith communities. One, irrational fear of contagion. Number 2, irrational fear of quick death.
Okay.
And then number 3, associating HIV infection with immorality, sexual immorality. That people now look at me and like, oh my God, a priest?
A priest.
How did he get it?
This is something they need to understand.
How did he get it? But, we are now, our people need teaching there also to help people understand that faithfulness and safeness are cousins, but they are not the same.
They are not the same.
You can be faithfully infected in marriage.
Okay.
You don't need to be a sexual sinner to get HIV.
Yeah.
And even also, sexual sinners don't have to get HIV.
They don't.
So now, for people to know that we can defeat AIDS, they have to have one sentence in their mind. Number 1 is that not all sexual saints are HIV negative.
Yeah.
And not all sexual sinners are HIV positive.
Wow.
Once you get that, you are punching stigma in the face.
You are. Because
it is using that confusion to stigmatize people. And once people are stigmatized, then they can't go to test.
They can't.
When they test, they don't
disclose themselves.
When they disclose, they do it too late. When the virus has been transmitted.
All right.
Now, so those are the 4 sources now. The 4th one is in the messages we use to communicate. Now, that one really you need to be sensitive to it, because the devil is a liar, because he uses some of those good things to twist it around. For example, the very good message of ABC. It's a great message.
It is.
But when we are communicating, see how we do it. Abstain, very big A.
Big word.
If you can't abstain, be faithful. If you can't abstain and you can't be faithful, use condoms. You see, they can't. They can't. Meaning you are choosing not to.
Yeah.
But it's not that people don't choose to abstain. It's that they are willing and they fail.
Wow.
Siganye, ndemerwa. Those are 2 different issues. So when you say abstain if you can't, you are already presupposing that people who are married failed to be abstinent.
They failed. It's true.
But they chose. It was a choice.
It
was a choice to say. They graduated. They didn't fail. They graduated.
So interesting.
Yeah. So we shouldn't now make them vertical, like hierarchy.
Yeah.
They should instead be horizontal.
Wow.
That when you have been a young person and you have grown and you have been abstaining, the moment you are going to graduate, like now the Inevantu can't say I'm abstaining. She has to graduate into something else. Not because she has failed, but because she has grown into something else.
It's true.
Now, when you are becoming sexual active in marriage, then you have to choose and say, wait a minute, I need to test. I need to know the status
of my partner
and myself.
Yes.
Then according to the results, we use condoms. Not because we have failed to be faithful, but
the principles.
But because the results that have come out have demanded.
Okay.
That's where I really want people
to understand.
This 1 hour we have invested, Uganda AIDS Commissioners and Family TV has invested. It's going to produce wonders. People don't use condoms because they have failed faithfulness. No. They use condoms because their new situation demands that on top of faithfulness, they have to use condoms. That in top of drinking your water, which is yours, you have to boil it.
You have to.
You don't say, auntie, because my water is mine, why should I boil it? No. Oh, because I'm in my bed, I don't need a mosquito net.
You need it.
You need it.
It's true.
Because, this is my car, I should drive it without a seatbelt. No, you need it. So the moment we change that teaching to say that these three messages work together. They are not either or. Like when you read Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 12 to 14, Nehemiah brings the families and asks them, we have a war coming, what weapons do you have? And the families that had spears, he put them on a certain side. Those who had arrows, he put them on a certain side.
Right.
Those who had swords, he put them on another side. And the Bible is clear. And I placed each family according to the weapon they had. He was good. He knew that different weapons fight different battles.
It's true.
So if you are not married, then the arrow is the best for you.
It's the best for you.
Abstinence.
Abstain.
Yes. The enemy is far.
Interesting.
The enemy is far, so
you have to
shoot it with an arrow. But when they begin announcing you in church, this is the second time of announcing, if you can't, then you can't say, I will keep abstinence. No, you are going to graduate from abstinence. That means you have to change from the arrow to the spear.
Wow.
You see, to the spear. That spear testing and remaining faithful. But if you have tested and then they have said, one of you or both of you are positive, then it means you have to take on the sword.
The sword.
And the sword now, we have two swords now. We have the condoms that can block even teenage pregnancies and unwanted, unplanned for, unprayed for. Yes. There are those pregnancies we get with
unplanned.
Unplanned,
yes.
Unasked, unprayed for.
Yeah.
Then they also block HIV, but we also now have ARVs. That once you take them well, they can knock the virus from your body to the point that you can transmit to another person. So that is giving hope to the discordant couples. It is giving hope to the positive persons, and it's giving hope to the children who will escape being positive because the science God has given us is enough. So the duty we have now is not to stigmatize the science. To stigmatize the product. Because that's another problem.
It's another problem.
Yes, the science could be there.
It would.
But if people are stigmatizing, don't touch, don't use, then
there's no way to.
Fortunately for me,
bringing out change.
My teachers at Bishop Tucker College had taught me very well. So I used my sense and used the science very well.
Very well.
For 7 years.
Wow.
I married in 1995. A positive woman.
A positive woman, yeah.
And I was positive. So we had to utilize all God's science that is available. And we did that. Wow. There is one science that was not available. They did not know how you can produce children who are negative. Without infecting them. So, but at least they had the science that they can say, you can postpone having the children.
It's true.
So we did that for 7 years. And then in 2000, Professor Mir and team produced that science.
Wow.
That you can put the condoms aside and have a baby once you do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then produce a baby that is negative. Can you believe that our first, our baby which we produced after that science is now 23?
Wow.
Negative. We have another one who is 20. Actually, she became 20 yesterday.
Wow.
Negative. So
that's great.
If stigma was absent and we are utilizing God's knowledge, God's wisdom, God's science as it should be used, AIDS would have been ended long ago. Because God chose that AIDS should end the time he revealed how it is transmitted.
Okay.
And then he revealed also how it can be prevented. So we are not powerless. The Bible says he doesn't leave us as orphans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He has given us the tools. What we now need is changing the mindset and the heart set, so that we love more than we condemn. We give grace and compassion more than we judge. We give equity and justice more than we exclude.
Right.
Once we do those, AIDS will be history in the history books. We should now really Africa should move away from superstition, mythology, and all that to go into accurate
the reality.
Reality, adequate. It can be explained, it can be defended, it can,
Yeah.
Because once you say, for example, don't have sex before HIV,
before
don't
marriage.
have sex before marriage, you will be pregnant. That's not very true. Just tell people that pregnancy outside marriage is not good, whether you get pregnant or not. But to tie a good thing on an effect, when people know that actually there are ways you can have sex before outside marriage without being pregnant, then you don't come out of that experience trusted. People will say, no, he doesn't know what he's saying. So I think we are being challenged to say that the knowledge and the wisdom we get is validated, is unassailable.
It's manipulated.
You can defend it. It can be researched and found true, rather than us preaching what our views, and then we call our views and opinions as if they are answers. That's part of the stigma, I think. That's what we have to fight.
Let us start from here after a quick commercial break. Our viewers and listeners, I hope you've heard from him. Let us get into a quick commercial break. We'll still be coming back with the same topical discussion. Don't go away. Welcome back from that quick commercial break. We are still continuing with the Family Hour with our host, Richard Nandera. Still we are with our guest, Reverend Canon Gedeon Byamugisha. He is taking us through the topic of today that we are discussing, the ending of HIV-related stigma and discrimination among the victims in our country, Uganda, and also countrywide, because this message can reach to all the people in the whole world. So, Reverend, my next question that I would love you to talk about, how do you believe faith communities have played a role in reducing HIV-related stigma, most especially when it comes to our country, Uganda?
How they have played a role?
How you, in the society, how you, the best faith religious leaders, have ensured that you play a role in reducing HIV?
Oh, in reducing?
Yes.
Wow. The faith communities and their leaders, like I was saying, have played a very, very big role.
All right.
If you look at how HIV in Uganda started, we could give Uganda like 4 phases. There was phase 1, which was 1981 to 1990. We call it the lost decade. The church virtually did nothing. And there was a disease. People didn't know what it is,
Can imagine.
People were saying it has no cure. It has what? And then they said it attacks prostitutes, commercial sex workers, and homosexuals. So people who were not in that category did not take care to guard themselves.
Okay.
They felt, sirimusi yafe. Batugambye bameka, homosexual, commercial sex worker, and a truck driver. I'm not those. So we lost that decade. And that is how stigma started, because whenever they would now see someone who is positive, say, okay, yandiba maraya, or yandiba muvuzi webirole. So, but towards the end of the 90s, Phil Retire came in.
Okay.
And he did a great job. Together with Mama Noreen Kareva, 89, 90. So they helped.
They helped a lot.
To bring, and Bishop Miseri Kauma, you know, joined the team and said, no, let's fight. You know, so then the next decade was a very interesting decade.
Wow.
91 to 2000.
2000.
You see Uganda AIDS Commission being formed.
Coming in.
Bishop Kauma being made chairman of Uganda AIDS Commission. I am coming out to be public. Our network, religious leaders, is being formed. You know, and then people begin, and then Bishop Sekade and his team at Namirembe, they say, let's nurse this boy.
Wow.
Katumujanja. And that made a big turnaround. Because the Church of the Province actually started a program called Chusa. I was on that program.
Wow.
You know. So that was a very interesting decade. That the faith communities are beginning to engage. They are beginning to ask questions. We usually ask questions. Is AIDS a curse from God and a punishment from sexual sins?
Okay.
And people would take time to respond, to think through. We had a question which says, if faithful women cannot get HIV, agree, disagree, and people really debate
about it.
Yeah, okay. After debating AIDS is a curse from God, agree or disagree. There was another question which was saying, a statement which said, I can't get AIDS. That was a very interesting one.
It was?
I can't get AIDS, you know, and agree, disagree, agree. And you know, like, So that process was good. And then we entered into another phase, 2001 to 2010. That was a very interesting, that the international community is beginning to see what is happening in Uganda, and they are getting interested. So we have PEPFAR starting, we have, you know, Global Fund starting. We have World Council of Churches starting the ecumenical network, ecumenical HIV/AIDS initiative. Right. You know, so the faith community. Then we have Interreligious Council forming again. Wow. So it's becoming a big. Now we are in another phase, which we are calling last mile. Last mile. Meaning there are things we have learned in the epidemic. Wow. That works well. And the faith community has done them well. Wow. Like, we now know 6 things can help us. 1, give people accurate information. Yeah, they need it. 2, change their attitudes. Okay. From stigmatizing to supporting. Okay. 3, teach them skills for self-protection. You know, like ABC. You know, abstinence is not magic. It's not. You need to know, how do I say no without being intimidated to change my mind? Yeah. It's a skill. It's a skill. You know, you need to negotiate no sex. Yeah. The way people negotiate safe sex, they should also, it's a skill to negotiate, I don't feel ready, and it is disappointing to God, to me, and to my family. It's not part of my dream now. Yeah. And to be able to do it, you know, repeatedly, is a skill. Even condom use, which people stigmatize without entering into details, it's a very difficult tool, you know, because unlike abstinence, where you have to decide on your own, condom use, you have to decide between your partner. You have to agree. You have to agree. And after that, problems are not over. You have to go and buy. You have to go and invest in. And after that, problems are not over. You still have to know, how do they use it? And then how do they disclose it? How do they dispose it? So Mothers Union and Fathers Union play a very big role, and other parents' clubs, to see how do we do this well, because it needs a skill. That's what I'm actually saying. Yeah. But then you need services. Yes, services are needed. You need services. People to test, they need to know where the services are. Oh, okay. You need the ARVs, they need to know where they can get it. And they're supposed to be for free. And not chargeable. Then you need a supportive policy and spiritual environment. Okay. Now, for the government, that means good laws that are not punitive, but empowering or transformative to the young people. For example, if a young person is not in a school, they are not in education, they are not in training, they are not in employment,
and yet they are laws,
then you cannot respond by imprisoning them.
You cannot.
No. Say, how do I make them go to school? How do I enable them and to have jobs? Which government is doing well, by the way.
It is.
They are trying with the parish development model, the Myoga, and then the best one was the UPE.
UPE school.
Yes, making sure that everyone is in school. And then we have that challenge now, which faith communities actually can help. That how do we make sure that those who have been in UPE continue another level without dropping out? Many people are dropping out after P7, and then HIV starts, vulnerability starts there. So we can offer a supportive spiritual environment which preaches love more than judgment. Let judgment be for God. For us, let's do what God asked us to do. Love your God, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And you can see the results. That when the faith community decided to give me love, you could see that 32 years later, no person has my virus. 32 years later, I don't have AIDS. I used to have AIDS in 98 before I started treatment. Had all symptoms. But love took away the AIDS.
So love is...
Love,
it's the overall...
Five sources of love. One, from God himself. Number two, from the family. If you miss love from the family, you are finished. Family members, love your people who are HIV positive, who are struggling with vulnerability. Love them.
It's true.
Source number 3 of love, the community.
The community.
Where you worship. Where the mosque you go to, the ecclesia you attend, or the church you go, your pastor, your priest, that is another area. Your local community is very important, love source. Then number 4, the people giving you the services, the health services. Do you feel like I want to go there tomorrow? Or do you
go there once, I don't want to go back again.
Then love from your country. Do they count me as a citizen? Or are they criminalizing me and tossing me and making me stateless? Because the Constitution says no one should be stigmatized or discriminated as long as you are Ugandan. You get the point? But the better said than done. But if the government and the community leaders and the societal governors can say, how do we give love? We see government love in 3 areas. In young people's empowerment. We see government's love in making sure that everyone who needs information has it. Those who need services have them. Those who need treatment has it. Like now we have this last mile. We're expecting government to say, okay, how do we work with faith communities to get these 200,000 people who are positive, but they don't know they are positive. Or the 80,000 that are struggling in care. Because now there are 2 people. We have lost to care and struggling in care. Now you can see that in both camps, the faith communities have a role to play. The lost to care reminds us of Jesus when he left the 99 and went to look for the lost sheep. What is happening? And you see, Tina, what is happening? When you look at this map, this is a map that is showing you the 200,000 we are talking about. They are positive. Undiagnosed. They don't know they are positive. So they are undiagnosed. Then this is a map that shows you the 80,000, those who are struggling to take medicines well. What do you see in this map?
I see
this red is the most advanced. But the same red, look at this belt, is the same as this belt.
There is no difference.
But something also you learn that this belt is not the service staffed.
Okay.
This is Guru, this is Aro, this is
different districts.
These are districts that are well served with the services. But they are the ones struggling with people who are lost to care or struggling in care.
Does that take us to the Ministry of Health, the responsibilities, what they are supposed to do about that?
It brings us to faith communities. That government has given services, but people are so stigmatized to access the services. Government has done its bit. Look, these are all well-served districts. This is Masaka for you, this is Kampala, this is Mbarara. These are well-served districts. So you can't blame government.
So you should blame the religious
leaders. It is, the responsibility now is on us.
The leaders, the religious leaders.
For example, government has given you ARVs.
Okay.
But you are struggling to take it. Now, how can government come to your family?
To come and say,
no,
take this, it's for your own good.
It is the family now to take care. Me, when I'm at home, I have the best care.
Wow.
My daughters, my wife, everyone is involved.
Wow.
So faith communities really, I'm glad Family TV is hosting. You know, I like the theme of family because Church of Uganda is very strong on the family.
Yeah, where Enric lies.
Now, this family, we should not just talk about it as something to be protected alone, which is very important. But we should also talk about it as a source of life.
That's the most important
a source of life. And to give life and peace and dignity, you need a foundation. And that foundation is love. So again, now Ed is telling us, by the way, why don't we look at the source of stigma and say stigma thrives where love is absent?
That's a very good
because stigma can't survive where love is a burden.
It's true.
That explains why I am open. Can you imagine even the Church of Uganda decided that I could even be promoted to being a canon, even when I was openly positive. And the Diocese of Lusaka, Zambia followed suit. I was made canon here in 2001. Lusaka, Zambia made me canon in 2003. You can show love by affirming people. That if God has loved them, has graced them, who am I? Who am I not to love?
To give the same love to the...
You know, because there are two issues that we have not done well. And by not recognizing two things, that every person has God in them and God for them. So every time you stigmatize someone, you are refusing to recognize God in the person and God's love for the person. So two sins being committed at once. Because once you stigmatize, then you are prejudiced, then you distance people, then you exclude them, then you violate them. All that is a consequence of choosing to see the devil in Gedeon instead of seeing God in Gedeon, or to see what God does for Gedeon is the one I should be doing for Gedeon. But we don't choose that. We instead focus on what devil is in Gideon. No. If you focused on God, then God will chase out the devil. Darkness cannot exist where there is light.
Where light is.
You see. And that's why I loved this song, that made me survive AIDS and defeat it. Because now I'm not going to die of AIDS. I will die of other things. But because of the 5 loves I've told you, love of God, love of family, love of church and faith community, love of government, from government, and love from health service providers, that will assure me. But where did I get that confidence to defeat stigma? From that knowledge about God, that whatever people say, God loves me.
God loves you. And God is love.
Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me, for the Bible tells me so. Once I learned that even in this struggle, God will not leave me alone, then I began now saying, okay, so how do we work together to achieve victory? And then I remembered that song that says, stand up for Jesus, you soldiers of the cross, lift high his royal banner, it must not suffer loss, from victory and victory. He leads us. And the book I'm going to launch on 28th, 29th August is called Troubled but Victorious. That once you focus on your eyes on God and God's love, then God's love gives you God's grace. God's love and grace produces God's compassion and solidarity with people who are struggling. The other ones lost care or struggling in care. God is on their side. Once you get that, then the 4 gives you equity and justice. And all that brings in forgiveness, that we need to forgive each other. We need to reconcile with each other so that this love can shine and repair what the devil has taken, what AIDS has taken. Take away that fear. You remember that fear we talked about? Fear of quick death, fear of quick, And when it comes to born agains, oh my goodness.
We are there.
You say, go and test. Oh, I fear them. But you are the one who was singing, there is power, power. So why can't you apply that power? In the same principle. So I think we can defeat this stigma. God has shown that we can do it. Thank God that our religious leaders, led by His Grace, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda. By the way, he has a double role. I don't know whether people know it. He's not only the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, he is also the president of the presidents of the Interreligious Council. So his ministry is broader than the Anglican Church. But because he's been consistent in health-related mission and ministry, we know that before he retires, we will have defeated this virus. We will have defeated the stigma, the shame, the denial, the discrimination. May God bless you all.
I believe the viewers out there, you are enjoying this conversation. Before we wind up, or before we close up this program, Reverend, we need you to give a word of advice to the viewers out there, to the victors out there, to the mothers out there, and the fathers, and also most especially the young girls.
Okay.
Yes.
Because He overcame, we shall overcome. So I encourage you that we join the teams that are working at your congregation level, at your parish, at your archdeaconal level, at your diocesan level, and at the province. Find how to contribute in either preventing or treating the virus. But also we are inviting you that we shall be having a convention focused on how to end AIDS from the faith community angle from 27th to 31st December, when people are making resolutions for the new year.
Wow.
For us, we're making resolutions on how to end stigma, how to end viral load non-suppression, and how to defeat AIDS itself. And so we are calling you to, you can contact me on 0782 869 102 if you want to register. We will be in Kanungu District, Chinchizi West Constituency, Chihihi Town Council. For that week, we are convening Mothers Union, CWF, Fathers Union, young people who are positive or personally affected or impacted, carers, community leaders, societal governors. Every one of us will be there to say, how do we strategize so that by 2026, we are talking about achieving AIDS control. And then by 2030, we are talking about ending AIDS as a public health threat.
Wow.
God bless you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Canon Byamugisha Gedeon. We are so grateful for the information. Seriously, I believe it has impacted someone out there.
Thank you.
And I believe our dear viewers and listeners of Church of Uganda Family TV, the Family Hour, you have gotten something positive. We shouldn't discriminate or stigmatize the victims with HIV/AIDS, and also the people around you. Love them because God loved you so much, and we should also love people, leaders. Take the initiatives to ensure that the public has this information, the facts, not myth, not cultures, not the mindset, but we should be there to ensure that the public gets to know about living with people with HIV/AIDS. My name is Rita Anerela. To remind you, I've been sitting in for Edwin Mukalazi here on Church of Uganda Family TV, the Family Hour.